Let's talk about the Eagles' second preseason game that left the Birds decimated with injuries. Nakobe Dean proved he's the real deal. Mariota ain't it, but how about the rook Tanner McKee as the QB2? But first, let's run it. Alright, the Birds were back at the link for some preseason action against the Cleveland Browns, with my guy Nolan Smith ready to eat off the floor, staying hungry, and also probably going to get more reps with Reddick out after it was reported before the game that Haason is having surgery to repair a thumb injury. However, all indications are that he'll be back by the opener, so I wouldn't say I'm at the point of sounding the alarms, and the silver lining, like I mentioned, is that it'll give Nolan more reps with the ones. But what's your concern level with Reddick's injury? The cool part to see Thursday was several of the Birds getting ready pre-game, with Jordan Davis leading the defensive unit in his patented dancing bear routine, firing up the squad. And even Nakobe Dean, the tackling machine, was getting ready pregame and about to hit somebody and, to prove all the doubters wrong. I'm not normally a huge fan of starters playing during the preseason, but in this case, I kind of like to see Nakobe get some live action reps. Plus, having the D get in work against the Browns' second string quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, was good because, as we saw, he presented several challenges, and not a surprise for why DTR was the highest graded preseason quarterback coming into the game. The most exciting early development, for me anyway, was that Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Nolan Smith all started on the D-line, along with Nakobe at linebacker. Like, literally, it was Georgia North. And the Philly Dawgs started out pretty good, with the Breadman continuing to show teams how terribly wrong they were to not pick him, as he beat his block to wrap up the ball carrier on, once again, his first snap of the game. Next, it was Nolan Smith, who flew around the edge to generate pressure on DTR, which, yeah, welcome to the party, Joe. We know Nolan's gonna be a star. And Smith took it a step further a couple plays later, showing his physicality and closeout speed to force an incompletion. Although credit to Thompson-Robinson for standing in there and delivering strikes, which quite frankly was kind of carving up the Eagles secondary, in particular Zech McPhearson, who had a very rough opening drive. But unfortunately, it only got worse as McPhearson went down with a lower leg injury, which the Eagles confirmed was a torn Achilles today, and he'll miss the rest of the season. I really hate this for Zach, who I felt like was having a good camp at nickel, so definitely saying a prayer for him and wishing him a speedy recovery. It's also crazy that in a span of less than a week, the Eagles have lost Sean Bradley and Zech McPhearson to Achilles injuries, and as Dave Zangaro points out, that's a very big blow for the Eagles special teams unit in 2023, as well as who will fill in that backup slot corner position. I feel like it's likely that Mario Goodrich now would make the roster, but what do you guys think? Never something you want to see. However, there was one thing Mark Farzetta of Jacob Sports wanted to see before the game Thursday.
I need to see Nakobe Dean go out there and make a play tonight.
Congrats, Mark. You got your wish almost immediately. Although there was this really bad call for a personal foul on Dean. I get protecting the quarterback who's going down for a slide, but I don't know. It's such a bang-bang play. Kind of felt like it shouldn't have been called. Maybe I'm crazy. What do you guys think? Regardless, the tackling machine made up for it on the next play by making a great play on the ball and forcing a fumble on Cleveland's running back John Kelly. And then Kayvon Wallace jumped on the ball to recover. The best element on this play was really Dean's anticipation, and I also loved his excitement and Sirianni's hype afterward. Overall, we didn't see much else from the green dot wearer as Dean played one more drive that resulted in a 3-and-out, but as Brandon Deeg pointed out, Zach Cunningham and Nakobe Dean were impressive together, combining for 6 tackles and a forced fumble on 15 total plays. Those are numbers I can live with. Of course, I don't think the second linebacker spot is settled by any means, but Cunningham definitely played well, staying in for a lot of the game while tying for a team lead in tackles with 7. However, while those are some solid stats on that side of the ball, backup quarterback Marcus Mariota put up another stinker. Granted, he was certainly feeling some pressure, in particular from whoever was lined up in front of Josh Sills, as the right guard didn't have a great game. Either way though, Mariota's just about lone bright spot was on a screen pass to wide receiver Olamide Zaccheaus for 17 yards. By the way, don't tell me I'm the only one who thought that he looks like Nelson Aguilar out there wearing number 13. It's also worth pointing out that the team was already trailing 2-0 at this point thanks to a safety on a Josh Sills missed block. Despite Mariota being able to get the team into field goal range, he was constantly missing throws by a mile, depicted by Jimmy Kempski's accurate representation of the 9-year vet's throws.
Watch this.
I don't know, at least the positive is that we got 3 points out of it. Although there was a much more promising aspect that happened when Nolan Smith came tearing around the edge on the next drive against DeJuan Jones, barely missing the sack, but allowing Kentavious Street to clean up and bring down DTR. Nolan just has a different gear. For those wondering, yes, I was literally yelling at that point thinking Nolan was about to get the sack. It was about then when I thought to myself, yep, we've seen enough, let's get him out. Plus, it might be a little hard to tell, but the Rook injured his shoulder at the tail end of this play, yet kept on playing. Why? I have no clue, but did make a crazy good play by chasing down Anthony Schwartz, who owns a 4.25 40-yard dash time. So yeah, Smith is unreal, although it was a little scary because the next thing we saw was Nolan going into the medical tent to have his right shoulder looked at. But thankfully, the Rook returned to the sideline, and I don't want to see him on the field again this preseason. Yet it was good to hear him say the injury is not a big deal after the game.
I know everybody worrying about my shoulder injury. They just took me out for precaution reasons. You know, it's still getting loosened up, man. Like I tell people, and once they just pulled me and they told me I wasn't going back in, I really got kind of down on myself. I got sad because, you know, I want to go. And I felt like I had a real good, you know, first and second quarter. I felt like I was rushing well. And it's been good, man. You got guys like Sweat and Haas just giving me all the keys to success. I just stayed in because, you know, it need to get loose. You know, if you ever had surgery and working off of rehab and then coming back to play football, most people don't know that, you know, it's just little things. So I say it wasn't even nothing that I'm worried about, and I'm just ready to go play next week, train for the coach.
Cool, man. Let's just save it for the regular season. And can we do that for Rashaad Penny too? Not gonna lie, I was surprised to see Penny out there, but really a nice showing of the patience and explosiveness on a 16-yard run. So it's absolutely insane to think Shad is in danger of being cut. Despite whatever league source is feeding lies to MLF football, get out of here with that garbage, bro. All right, maybe I'm a little too heated on this, but you guys know how big of a fan I am of Penny, so to say he's gonna get cut is crazy talk to me personally, but do you agree or disagree? Another question I'd ask, would it be crazy to say Tanner McKee could win the QB2 job with a couple good performances? Nope, not really. Especially with Mariota selling yet another pass, which ended up getting picked off. I mean, he was bad, really bad, with the Boo Birds out, and Jalen Hurts probably saying, bro, they ain't gonna let you be the backup if you keep doing that. There was also some other not great stuff following that, with wide receiver Olamide Zaccheaus injuring his shoulder. However, he did eventually come back to the sideline, so hopefully nothing too serious. And then Tyler Steen was moved to right guard after starting the game at left tackle, but committed penalties on back-to-back plays where everything just looked really out of sorts.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
Thankfully, it wasn't all chaos with the linebacker group playing really well. Christian Ellis made a couple great plays and continues to prove his ability to be around the ball to have chances. I'll admit, Ellis did miss a couple tackles again, which you obviously never want to see, but I still feel like the battle for the second spot is between him and Zach Cunningham. Oddly enough, Miles Jack didn't come in until late in the fourth quarter. Not sure the reasoning of that, and I'm not saying that Jack has no shot at the starting spot, but after generating a ton of buzz the first couple of days he got here, we honestly haven't heard too much about the 27-year-old. So maybe it's something and maybe it's not. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Getting back to the game, this was definitely the not so great portion for the Eagles, as Keely Ringo was in perfect position on a play, but for the second game in a row showed poor awareness to either see the ball or just react. I mean, it looks like it could have been an easy pick. Trey Sermon also had a very rough first half, quite literally fumbling away his roster spot, because as running back coach Jamal Singleton says,
ball security's job security. If you don't take care of the ball, you don't have a job.
Even Jimmy Kimsky was quick to quip, Trey Sermon ain't making the team after the fumble. It was cool to see Jalen come over and give Sermon a pep talk right after though. Yet Sermon went right back on the next series, failing to pick up a blitz, which got Mariota sacked. Overall, it was a brutal first half for the Eagles, especially Mariota, whose night ended with 86 yards on 9 for 17 passing, with 1 interception and a 42.8 passer rating, while also being sacked 3 times.
No, that ain't it!
Obviously not good, and I'd say the concern level is rising, at least for the current backup quarterback, but he may not be that for long. After Tanner McKee came out dropping dimes on his first couple throws, putting it where only the receiver could make a play. And it actually only took 1 pass for Derek Gunn to vote McKee as the official backup. Nick Sirianni was also very impressed.
It was accurate. He had some really nice throws into some tight coverage.
I should mention while Sirianni was pleased with the rookie's performance, he made it clear that Mariota is still the QB2, which I think is fair because Mariota is a vet, but surely it's a much closer race now, since McKee led the team down on his first drive to take the lead thanks to a Trey Sermon ridiculous redemptive touchdown run of 33 yards, apparently going from not making the roster to league MVP now. I don't know, good for him, and he definitely looked a lot better in the second half, but I still feel like it's going to be super tough for him to make the roster. One of those guys who had seemingly been making some movement was wide receiver Tyrie Cleveland, but after falling awkwardly while trying to make a play on the following drive, Cleveland had to be put on a stretcher and carted off. Definitely sending some prayers up for him too, and thankfully he at least reportedly has movement in all of his extremities. But also, what the heck is everyone doing here? Are you kidding me? Apparently everyone was actually doing the wave while one of our own was seriously injured. Whatever, it's just a terrible look and a complete lack of self-awareness. Although later, Eli Ricks, who had a good first preseason game, kind of came crashing back to earth by getting victimized for a touchdown. And then the receivers seemed to let McKee down multiple times where at least 4 easy drops happened. Thankfully, Eagles Nation got to the bottom of it and determined that Mariota paid the receivers off to keep dropping the ball. That's really the only explanation. Because McKee, who finished 10 for 18 with 147 yards and 1 touchdown, could have or should have been more like 14 for 18. McKee did at least get one more chance to tie the game after the defense stiffened, and the Rook orchestrated a 6-play, 57-yard drive, making a couple really strong throws before finding tight end Brady Russell in space for the score, and then going on to convert the 2-point try to wide receiver Johnny King to tie it up at 18 all. Both teams still did get chances after that to win, with the Browns kicker Cade York missing 2 attempts to win the game, before McKee then got the ball and the offense sputtered on their last chance. Okay, overall, it was a very rough night where the Eagles were absolutely decimated with injuries, including Moro Ojomo, who played really well again, making plays and being a wrecker on the D-line, but got hit by some friendly fire, suffering a neck injury and having to be carted off. But the good news is that Ojomo was able to give a thumbs up and has all mobility in his extremities as well. Although I'm not gonna lie, this was one of those really ugly games, and then you add insult to injury, no pun intended, with all the guys going down. Thankfully, there's still plenty of time before the regular season, so you hope there's nothing too serious, but obviously something you never want to see. But I'm done with having all these studs playing. I've seen them more than enough, so we need to get them out and don't see them again till the regular season starts. But to sum up the game, I think Mariota is in a position where he could actually lose the QB2 spot, which isn't something I thought I'd be saying right after Philly signed him. Also, Nolan Smith, Sidney Brown, and Nakobe Dean are the real deal. Okay, not a shock. And I do feel much better about our linebacker options after this game, especially the difference from the Baltimore game. However, the punter situation is far from ideal. As much as we may have wanted Legatron Ty Zentner to win out, the undrafted rookie got all the work last night with 5 punts for an average of 39.8 yards per attempt and 0 inside the 20. Absolutely awful. And despite Sipos not playing last night, I think we had all the signs and answers to say that we need to sign someone else. Only one more preseason game left against the Colts on August 24th, who they'll also be hosting for a joint practice on Tuesday ahead of the game. And it'll be nice to welcome back Shane Steichen as well. Just a little over 3 weeks until the regular season, which is crazy. But by the way, for anyone still interested in joining the Fantasy Football League, we have a couple spots left. All you need to do is Venmo me or send me Cash App the $105 entry fee, which I'll have more details in the description, but include your email in that, and then I'll give you the link to sign up. Can't wait to have more meaningful football games. This has been the Philly Special.